Rigo, I can see you having conversations in the live chat. A couple of people have suggested, and it is, it's not an uncommon opinion. It feels like it's growing as, you know, Trent's defensive skills are micro-analysed at an unprecedented scale every single game. A lot of people talking about moving him into the midfield. Let's hear your thoughts on that one, because if we don't sign someone, I think a lot of people are going to start to suggest that quite a lot.
2 words: no hell. No way do we move him into midfield. That he drifts in midfield already, coming in from his right back position. He's all over the place. He's our joker. Why would you turn a joker into an 8 of clubs when you're playing cards? So no way do we want him in the midfield. You want to use him to the best of his ability, something Gareth Southgate unfortunately doesn't understand. So and maybe luckily for us, Trent doesn't play and doesn't get hurt in the World Cup, but you never know. No way do we put him in the midfield. I think we have enough resources now to, even with the guys that are injured, to do a job there, so long as they stick to their role and we make accommodations elsewhere on the pitch to make up for whatever deficiencies they might have. All the talk about Trent and his defensive numbers always comes up when he's beaten to, for example, the back post. But usually it's because he's trailing back because he does so much for us on the offensive end. If we shore up our structure in the midfield so that we're not letting those 1-2 passes completely decimate and break our team like we have in the first 3 games of the season, I think all that negative talk as far as Trent's defensive numbers will go out the window, even though on a broader level, those national analysts don't see our matches as we do. They'll still use that because that's their only talking point when talking about Trent Alexander-Arnold. So no way. Keep him where he is.
Yeah, Ben, what's your take on that? Because it feels it's almost the same to Jordan Henderson a few years ago. As soon as we start losing, it's, we need to change things. Henderson needs to go. Trent can't defend. A game like yesterday reminds us of his prowess. I mean, obviously his, ability to strike a ball and to be a massive part of our attack as well. Is that something that we should consider doing, changing his position?
No way now. I think he's the best right back in the world. Why would you move the best right back in the world into midfield? They played in midfield for England, didn't they? And he wasn't the same. It's different because he has more space when he comes from right back into midfield. He has more space to operate in. When he just starts in midfield, you can't move as freely. He's not got as much time on the ball. It's like, I don't see why it makes any sense. He gets as many assists as like De Bruyne from right back, so there's no point. I don't see any reason why he moves midfield. Plus, if you move to midfield, who's going to play right back? Do we put like Milner at right back all the time? I don't like. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why he'd ever put Trent in midfield.
Yeah, Jay, your thought on this as well, but I think Ben makes a good point, is that, each position in our team has quite a specific role, and the right side today is probably what people think Trent could do, but we've seen it with Elliott, we've seen it with Henderson. They facilitate what Trent does. They, form that triangle with Trent and Salah, and they're constantly interchanging, allowing Trent to come inside and Salah to do his thing as well. It is almost a case of why change what isn't broken, but is his defence that bad that we need to move him out of there? I don't know.
No, I think Rigo and Ben both hit the nail on the head. Trent doesn't play just right back, he drifts into the middle all the time, like Rigo said earlier. And I completely agree with Ben. Playing at right back, you get 10 times more time on the ball than in the middle of the pitch. You've got more space to move with, which we haven't seen Trent play that role. So you couldn't say he'd be better in midfield than where he is. And like you've said, Lou, top assist nearly every season. Why'd you change that? With Salah's top goal scorer, did you say, what, should we play him on the left this season because he's left-footed, might be better on the left? Well, why? He's top scorer every season. Something's not broke, you don't fix it. Trent is our right back, and yeah, he's not the best defender in the world in terms of his defensive work, but that's not what he's in the team for. That's why we play Fabinho, so to double up, to do the defensive work that Trent can't do. And Trent gives you more creativity than most midfielders in Europe, but maybe Kevin De Bruyne. like the numbers and passes that Trent puts up are ridiculous, and he's one of the most underappreciated footballers in the world. I honestly rate him as one of the best footballers in the world. His passing is disgusting. It really is disgusting. You can't teach it. It's just the angles he can hit, the different types of ball, the pace of it. He's brilliant, mate. So I agree with both the boys. I wouldn't switch him anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry I could tell there are maybe a fair few people in the live chat who do believe Trent could play midfield, and I'm just sorry that we haven't got anyone on this panel who shares that opinion. So I apologise if it looks like we're kind of shoving our opinion down your throat. But Kev, to complete the, it's not a trilogy or a quadrilogy, but where the 5 things is,
quintet.
Yeah, quintet or whatever. Are we slightly underestimating how difficult it is to change positions? To go from being a right back where you've got 180 degrees of the pitch to focus on, and you can cut in if you need be, and you create that overload. You are the extra man in the midfield if you do what Trent does, as opposed to starting out as a centre mid where you then have that 360 view. It's almost the same as, for anyone who watches cricket, and I might be the only one here, making someone like Joe Root your captain, it takes away from what he's best at and makes him focus on other things as well that doesn't help what he's good at. So by moving him to centre mid, although it looks like he's got the attributes for that, potentially you're actually going to just draw back and he won't be as successful.
No, I agree. No, don't get me wrong. Some people can do that and can evolve and move into that. I totally agree with what everyone said, especially the Gareth Southgate shout, because he can play in midfield. It doesn't mean that he can start there. I think out of all the right backs I've seen, I've season ticket holder, so I get to see everyone up close, which is nice, and I'm quite high up as well, so I get to see the match as well. He's the most covered right back by our team, unbelievably so. The fact that Henderson, you've got Fabinho, everyone covers for him, and he's the only one who's allowed to have a kind of a free role as to where he moves and where he goes to within our team. To lose that, you lose Trent as a player, and to move him into midfield, you're nullifying half of his attributes by doing so, by playing him in there. He needs to be played as a right back, and believe it or not, he is the start of the majority of our actual, our actual goal assists and etc. And that's coming from right back. He's pivotal to where he is, and everyone, as we've said, has a role to play. They also have a role to play when Trent goes Roman, and you'd lose that if you then move him into midfield, because then it's asking for an ask of someone in the right back position, because what we do is we start then alluding to how good Trent was, and then we start making these false claims that as Ben correctly said, we start playing Milner there, or we'll play Henderson there because we're not quite ready with it, and Ramsey and that. You lose a lot by moving him in midfield, and that's what Southgate has found out to his own cause, as he doesn't know where to play him. He wants to play him in midfield, but he doesn't know how to. He has to be given a free role, and he has a free role within our team. You saw it yesterday, the amount of times he was in that midfield, and at some points, he was actually our number 9. He was that close to when Elliott scored. He was already in the number 9 position, in that position. He's allowed to roam. He's the only right back I know who's allowed to roam in the league or in the world. No one else can do that. And you lose a hell of a lot if you start asking him to play in midfield from the start.